Hello and welcome back to Life.EV, our weekly deep dive into values and entrepreneurship. This is episode 15, and I'm Ajit Panicker, leading Nova and Pureblu, which is in the air conditioning domain. And as usual, we will talk on the paths of business growth and personal value creation every Saturday at 11 a.m. for balancing success and values in our lives. Join Life.EV for insights on living and leading with a purpose. And we have Vivek with us. Hi, Vivek. How are you doing?
Fine, Ajit. How are you doing today?
Absolutely good. To some of our viewers who are joining us for the first time, Vivek runs a company which is KMO Fasteners. It's a trailblazing company in the industrial fastener sector. What sets Vivek apart is his deep engagement with the exploration of values. Now, for close to 4 years, he has dedicatedly penned his reflections on this topic every week. Now, for those interested, you can read about it all on his website, vivekasrani.com. Vivek's also authored a book called as One Day at a Time, Reflections from Times of Silence, which further delves into his journey and insights. This thought-provoking read is available on Amazon, offering readers a chance to engage with his profound understanding of values and their role in both personal and professional realms. So join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. for discussions with Vivek on life.ev. Today's episode is about getting over mistakes we have made. Vivek, let's get going on this reflection.
I think one of the most difficult things for us as people is getting over the mistakes we've made, right? And why is that? Is because sometimes we just get too hard on ourselves. For me, the one thing I've realized, Ajit, is that we need to learn from our mistakes, not live in our mistakes. We are all creatures of habit, and going back in the past, living in the moments of the past, holding on to things in the past. And I'll be honest, I still do it. I still sometimes find it very difficult to let go of certain things that have happened in my past, or certain things that have been said to me or I have said to somebody. But that's just the nature of who we are as people. So the first thing is we need to learn from our past and not live in the past. The second is that we tend to live with a lot of guilt and anguish over having uh, done something. It's human to look back and say, I shouldn't have done that, or this was a big mistake. But the feeling of guilt and anguish, as natural as it is, one needs to recognize that one needs to take a step back and not allow that to become the overriding sentiment and the mood in our life just because something happened. It doesn't mean that we become carefree in the sense that we don't care about what we do and we say, okay, so big deal, I did it, now let's just move on. No, like I said, we need to learn from our mistakes, but we got to be careful we don't live in them. The third aspect is we find it very easy to forgive others, but we find it very difficult to forgive ourselves. If somebody makes a mistake, Ajit, and we've done this in the past, we would have probably said to the person, listen, relax, it's okay, these things happen, we all make mistakes, we're all human, forget about it, just move on, right? We've counseled our friends and people. But how easily are we able to have a self talk with ourselves and do exactly the same and look at ourselves in the mirror and say, listen, these things happen, don't think too much about it, come on, move on. No, we just find it very, very difficult to forgive ourselves. And the last is when all else fails, we have to surrender. Now, I'm not using the word surrender in a weak sense. It takes a lot of strength to surrender. When we've really gone through an experience, things haven't played out the way we wanted to because we realized that we made a few mistakes along the way, whether it be in business and decisions, whether it be in relationships, whether it be some financial calls we took, which has just thrown the whole system, in chaos, and we're just not able to let go of it and overcome it because it was such a big thing in our life. We just need to surrender and say, you know what, I have tried my best. I'm not able to overcome this. And we just need to let go. Now, in whatever higher power we believe in, whether it be prayer, whether it be surrender, whether it be just sitting back and saying, look, I have done the best I could. And now beyond this, I'm not going to think about this. So I think our inner awareness and ability to just realize that a mistake is an event that has occurred. Yes, it will shape us if we learn from it, but unfortunately, it will define us if we continue living in it. And that's not the definition we want for ourselves, and that's not how we want to be defined in our lives. So, getting over our mistakes, I think, is one of the biggest positives we can build in our lives. And if we can develop that, I wouldn't use the word skill, but yes, if we can, the ability, if we can develop that ability within, you know and just to Ajit share with you from a business context, when in our company things don't go right and we do make mistakes, whether it be customer service, whether it be quality, whether it be sometimes interpersonal, or whatever the issue may be, or financial, we have a system called why analysis. So we do a root cause analysis to why did it happen, and that's the learning from the mistake. So we don't point fingers, we don't play the blame game. We just sit back, all of us, and say, listen, what happened and why did it happen? Second, what's the corrective action? Third, what's the preventive action? What is it that we've learned from it that we will not repeat it again? Now it happened, it happened. Don't beat yourself over it, but don't let go of the learning behind it. So I think for me, the biggest takeaway how to get over our mistakes is learning from it and not living in it.
Amazing. Well, Vivek, this also brings me to one of the things that you just said, and it comes very relevant as an entrepreneur. You manage teams, you empower people, and the best way to empower people is let them make mistakes, and then you back them up and move to the next level. Now, this comes from the question, when your people make mistakes, it's perfect. You want to give them that chance to correct and everything. But why is it that we find it so hard when we ourselves make a mistake, and then it's really frustrating, sometimes to overcome this? It's not easy to do it with yourself while you can do it with the rest of your team. When it comes to yourself, it just gets onto you. You get frustrated. It says, how the hell could you make a mistake? Have
Yeah.
you gone through these kind of
Of course, of
difficult
course. I,
situations?
I still I still go through it. I'll be honest with you. I still go through it. Every time something doesn't go right and I look back and I feel that I could have done better, whether it be in a personal relationship, whether it be in a business decision, whether it be in a negotiation, I still come back, and sometimes it comes back to haunt me and I'm like, how could I have done this? Or how could I have missed this? And I have realized that partly it comes from my ego. It comes from that, how could I have done it? So it's like in my own uh, in my own image, I feel that I am beyond making a mistake, right? So if that's my thinking, then even the smallest mistake I make becomes such a big thing in my head that how could I have done it? So this is where we need to also recalibrate and say, look, we are as human, we're all on a learning curve. It doesn't mean that we become careless about this, and it doesn't mean that we become lax about this, but it just means that we cut ourselves a little bit of slack and give ourselves a little bit of room and space for saying that, look, we're as human and these things happen. That's one. So it's partly coming from a sense of ego, to answer your question, but also, Ajit, that comes from a sense of deep responsibility, because when we let somebody else down because of something which we have said or done, it really hurts within that, I have hurt somebody else, and how could I have done that? If something happens to me, I don't care. But the fact that because of me somebody else is hurt, or because of me somebody else has been negatively impacted, so it also in a way comes from a deep sense of responsibility and sometimes love for somebody else. So it's a mixture of both. It could be deep, it could be ego, and it could be a deep sense of care. But finally, they both boil down to that final feeling of anger, regret, anguish, which we need to make sure doesn't find root within, and we quickly overcome the living in the past with learning from the past.
Amazing. And in that reflection, you also speak about a second chance. That, life always gives you a second chance. I mean, seriously, I always feel that you just get one chance and you should always get it right. There are no second chances. So, very intriguing when you said that, life always gives it. I mean, the very fact that you feel that life gives you a second chance sometimes make you slack. Okay, abhi nahi to baad mein karenge types. So you really think a second chance is always available?
So let me answer that question in a different way with the fact that if you fail an exam, the school will always give you another exam to take till you pass it. They will not move you to the next class till you don't pass your exam. You failed it, you give another test, right? You fail that one, you give another test. You go for your driving class, you fail it, no problem, you come again. We're not going to give you a license till you don't pass your right test. Now, Ajit, my experience in life has been that till I don't learn my lessons in life, life will keep throwing situations and experiences my way till I learn the lessons I'm meant to learn. And I think this all of us have experienced. I for sure have been through it n number of times. The moment I have found that I have learnt my lesson, immediately a new set of experiences come in my life. And just when I thought everything is going hunky dory, suddenly, there's a bit of a twist and a turn in my life. And what I initially used to view as something difficult, unfortunate, why is this happening to me? I realized that the next set of learnings are coming in my life. So, if life is going to repeatedly give me experiences for my learning, the corollary is true that life is also going to keep giving me opportunities when I make mistakes. Life is actually favorable to us. The principles of life are favorable to us. We sometimes feel that things are hostile, and yes, we go through difficult situations. I'm not saying we don't. But I truly believe that if the difficult situations keep coming back as a learning, the positive situations will keep coming back as opportunities because life cannot be one sided. They're two sides of the same coin. And therefore, my faith and belief that the second chance will come and the third chance will come. Now, having said that, it's extremely important to A, live with that sense of awareness and gratitude when the second chance comes and not take it as a sense of entitlement that, oh, big deal, I'll get another chance, I'll get another chance. Because then I think life is also going to start sending us some big learnings and tough experiences to remind us that, listen, don't take opportunities for granted. Uh, get it right as soon as you can. And then the bigger opportunities will come. And sometimes, like you said, Ajit, it's just that one time I've got to get it right that one time. No, it's not that way. I mean, the repeated opportunities will come. But sometimes the frustration, comes and sets in within that. Why am I not able to do some of the big things other people are doing? Why am I not able to do some of the exciting things other people are doing? Why am I not able to, get those kind of opportunities? Well, actually, they're available to us. But when you graduate from class one, you'll move to class two. When you graduate from class two, three, and four, you'll move to middle school and then higher school and then university and then PhD. So someone is doing their PhD, it also means that they've been through some of these opportunities and they've overcome it. So when life is giving us opportunities and we fully apply ourselves, we'll move to the next and the next and the next. So, yes, life will give us not only second chances, but will also give us more and bigger opportunities to, you know, uh, fulfill and experience. And the final thing, I will say on this is that mistakes, and we've heard this before, are stepping stones. If we allow the mistake to pull us down, it can actually suck us to a level where sometimes it becomes near impossible to pull ourselves out from. But if we view that, look, if this has happened and this mistake has happened, whether because of me or because of circumstances or whatever the case may be, but I view it as a learning and a stepping stone, then life just becomes a full journey of learnings and experiences rather than mistakes and successes. Because if we view life as mistakes and successes, then we'll also go through the highs and lows. The mind will go through the highs and lows of, oh, when I was successful, I felt great, and when I made a felt really bad about myself. But if we view it as learnings and experiences and opportunities, then we'll go through a level of equanimity and just enjoy everything we do because, like, okay, I didn't get this right, doesn't matter. The next question paper will come and I'll get it right the next time around.
Amazing. Here's, when you're talking about it, there's something that I wanted to share on this second chance and the mistakes. Also when it comes to mistakes, it's, you've always been trained, right? You learn from other people's mistakes, and then you don't do that again. And I must share a very interesting thing that happened. You know, our industry for MSMEs never had a trade body, right? And that's a very large group. And there was a trade body which was doing very well, and it had just gone down. So it was almost 60 years old, and lots of people came in. They tried. It just wouldn't move. It was just like, less than 100 people. There was no much money available, and so you couldn't even travel out there to create that association. And people used to come and say, listen, I tried this year, but I think I made this mistake. The next guy used to come and say, listen, I tried, and each one done better than the other. So now you're learning from those mistakes, and you feel you got a second chance to even go back and try to do something.
Yeah.
It's, a few of us got together and we made a mistake. We kept going. And eventually, it took a COVID where everyone gave up. And we said, hey, listen, we got to do something. We have nothing else to do. And we went digital. And today, this year, we are in 75 years, and we are 2,000 companies as members with 15
Wow.
committees, a strong body, and everything. So, from that mistake, when you're trying to say is also, when you end up taking a second chance, is also from a perspective that how much you believe in that goal and how much you believe in that purpose, that you really want to keep taking those chances again and again, and make it happen. So it's not just about learning. And one, of course, you learn from yourself, you learn from the others, but what's the drive in you not to give it up, and how much strong do you believe in that purpose? So my big takeaways from what you said is also that perspective, that you take the second chance because you want to make it happen. That's why
Very
you
true.
want to get to the 10 stand, which is why you go to the class 2, you fail, you do the third, you want to do that. I don't
Yeah.
care how many times I fail, but I would want to go about it. Isn't that so?
No, no, absolutely. I'll tell you. I mean, when I started this company, uh, I was really passionate. Like, I'm still very passionate about growing KMO. In the early years, I was very careful about our credit policy. Then, somewhere in between, when we were getting traction, I threw caution to the wind and I made a couple of decisions. I still remember my sales guy coming to me and saying, this one guy in Gujarat is going to give us an order of 100 tools. And I just said, yeah, just ship the tools to him, okay? Let's get market share. I had no business doing that because that guy was already delaying on his payments. He didn't have the financial standing to absorb and buy so many tools and pay us on time. I just said, just send it, we'll figure it out. And we lost a fair amount of money in that transaction. I learned from that. Initially, it bothered me because we were still a small company, and it wasn't really a setback, but it mattered at that time. Right? I mean, any amount of money being lost matters. But because of that, Ajit, we shaped our credit policy, the way we work. We built in a certain level of awareness and responsibility that we don't get carried away, and where we feel that the risk is beyond our rational thinking. No matter how tempting the opportunity, we just don't do it. you know so that one mistake shaped a huge policy for us, and thank God for it. Today we're growing, and we're growing comfortably and safely because we learned from that one thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's human to make mistake, but It's also about keeping that egos out and keep trying and taking that second chance. It's always available. Awesome, Vivek. That's thought provoking as usual with deep insights. Certainly gives us all plenty to ponder about the balance about keeping or between exploring values and business growth. To all our viewers, share this with your friends, colleagues, and family and get a conversation going and tell us where it leads. We'd love to hear from you. Join the dialogue on our social media platforms. Share your episodes, your learnings, and the insights you've gained from this episode. It's through such shared experiences and perspectives that we all grow and learn. So don't hesitate to reach out and contribute to this ongoing conversation. That's time we had for today's episode. So we'll see you next Saturday at 11 a.m. for another enriching session on Life.EV, Life Exploring Values. Vivek, thank you very much as usual. Another
Thanks,
enlightening
Ajit.
session today.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye.
See you next Saturday at 11.